sport mode is a beast. Holy. Man, gorgeous day. Checking out some Jeeps. Lifted Jeep, bros. It's like the same thing. Jeeps, giant trucks. Everything's so giant over here. Like the regular type Jeep isn't big enough. You know, I really miss that. Trucks. I had a truck at one point. I had a 93 Mazda B2200. I loved that truck. That truck was awesome. I'd like a truck again. I currently don't have a truck. And I don't buy one because they're all humongous. Even the small trucks are humongous. Now, I guess I'll have to clarify. I was never really into mini trucking. I know that's a thing. Some of them are pretty cool. I did have a pretty cool truck for a while, several years. Recently, I actually recently sold it. But I had a 1964 Ford F100. I'll put in a picture of it. Pretty cool truck. Nothing super special, but I ended up selling it, and this is going to sound terrible, but in a way, I sold it for my wedding. I know you're thinking, sucker! But in reality, I just didn't use the truck very much anymore. It had a giant big block FE motor in it, and it was just a major gas hog, and I don't know, I never used it, and it was old school, had a notch frame and stuff, so I couldn't really use it to haul stuff. It would just kind of sit there most of the time, and I don't know, cruise occasionally. It just kind of took up a lot of space in my garage. Space that is more well suited for motorcycles. That's what I think. But if I got a truck, I'd want the truck to be like my daily driver and something I can use regularly if I got to pick stuff up or whatever I'm doing. So yeah, I don't know. If you ever had a truck, talk about it. Talk about what kind it was, why you like it, why you dislike it. Put it in the comments, man. I'll talk with you. The thing that I think is weird, now when I was a kid growing up, monster trucks were all the rage. Monster trucks were awesome. Bigfoot, it was awesome. Gravedigger, loved it. I'd go to monster truck shows. I know it still happens. It doesn't happen in my area at all. But it was cool. Gas also, like when I was 16, gas was still here, like 95 cents a gallon when I first got my license. So, you know, that makes a difference. Gas prices make a heck of a difference. So now when I see these dudes, I mean, I guess maybe they're all just trying to live their childhood dreams, buying giant trucks or buying a truck and lifting it and putting giant wheels, and I don't know. I mean, it's cool, I guess, but it's sort of like I don't know. I wonder how much those dudes use those trucks for anything. Like that big, giant, sweet truck with awesome rims and humongous fart can exhausts on a truck, which I think on the truck, for some reason, they convince themselves it's better. And usually I think they sound pretty sloppy. I like high-performance motors that sound high-performance, tough. But not big, I'm a truck, I'm meant to haul stuff and be on a farm, but I'm just going to live in the city and carry my owner around and make noises and attract attention. And then the dudes drive the trucks, at least a lot of them that I see, then they drive them as if they're Suspensions, this guy's slow. That was some roadkill. Get around this guy just because. I had a bad experience following a trailer once. I had a horrible experience. I was on my way up to Canada. There's a dude with a trailer just like that, and all of a sudden a metal oil pan, like a catch pan for changing oil, used to always be metal and nowadays they're plastic. Either one would suck, but flew right out of that trailer, landed on the highway, like in the interstate in front of me when I was, I don't know, I was cruising interstate like 85, 90. Holy crap. I had to swerve, and you know, it was bouncing around coming at me. I had to try to not hit it and not let it, you know, even bounce and hit me. That sucked. So I usually just don't hang out behind trailers. So dude, didn't mean to pass you like a madman, but I just don't trust your trailers. Anyhow, these dudes drive giant trucks. Maybe it's just older guys or something. They drive them as if the suspension is made of candy canes. Like very slow. Oh, let's take it easy. Going into this school. Oh, better slow down to about 1 mile an hour. Make sure I don't do anything too offensive. Just take it easy. I'm in a truck. Gotta take it easy. I thought the trucks are built to like drive it through a field or whatever. Pick up hay bales and shit. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I think about. I think about a lot of weird shit. So, just to clarify, I'm not saying if you have a giant truck, you're slow or lame or old or whatever. I'm just saying, what the heck, man? I don't know. I just see them and I wonder sometimes. Even that's a Toyota. That's like a Toyota Tundra, yeah. Even the Tacoma is huge. They kind of look badass, actually. The Tacoma, that thing's pretty cool. Anyhow, yeah, kind of interesting. One of those interesting things that we could talk about if you wanted. Trucks. I don't know. Oh, and if you notice by the pictures, the truck I had was lowered. I don't know. Looked pretty cool. That's a pretty good story, actually. So, I was somewhere in my upper 20s thinking about, man, I'd like a hot rod. So to give you a little backstory, I think I talked about it in another video, but I'm not sure if I've uploaded it yet, so I'll just tell you again. To give you a little backstory, in the high school, a friend of mine, we built some engines and stuff together. We were into cars, into them enough that we built motors, and we were into hot rodding. We really liked Monte Carlos at that time. I had an 86 Monte Carlo SS, and I thought that was like an awesome car. I still think it's a pretty cool car, but they look a lot more dated now to me. Like it would take a lot to make one look cool and not super dated, I think. But anyway, built a motor for that thing, like from the ground up, and that was a lot of fun. I was all about, you know, I don't know, going fast and being loud. That was super kick-ass. So, fast forward, like 10 years or whatever, I ended up getting rid of the car. I ended up getting rid of it. Fast forward 10 years, and I really wanted a hot rod again. So I started looking around and I was like, man, I want something like cool and old school, because I really like the 60s. I like a lot of stuff from the 60s. There was some fairly timeless design that happened in the 60s, which is pretty cool. Not always with the cars, that's for sure, but a lot of the cars are pretty cool looking though to me. Big old American steel. So I started looking at old trucks from the 60s and trying to find something that I liked. And I ended up finding that Ford for sale in Arizona. And I'm in Minnesota. For some reason I thought, sure, why not? So I bought this truck sight unseen on eBay. I got it pretty cheap. So, and I made money when I sold it. So I didn't bother me. So I bought this truck, got a plane ticket, flew down, brought some tools, which is also kind of difficult, by the way, to bring a bag of tools on an airplane. There's all kinds of restrictions. What do you know? There's restrictions on bringing metal objects and long, potentially pointy things like screwdrivers on an airplane these days. Anyhow, I booked a flight, flew down there, and my original plan was to drive the truck all the way back to Minnesota. But I did have one phone call with the owner, and he was like, yeah, no, I'm driving it right now, everything's fine, it's all good, think you could do it? So I went down there, bought the truck, and realized there's no way in hell I'm driving this all the way back to Minnesota. It was not running as described at all. There's mostly it was a lot of timing issues that I had to figure out. I was able to kind of do it there, but it was not, I don't know, I didn't have all my tools and whatnot there, so it was kind of, I just couldn't really make it happen. So luckily I had a friend that lived in Arizona. I flew into Phoenix, picked up the truck, and then I drove the truck to Maricopa, to Scottsdale, and then met my friend there. And luckily, I ended up I knew right away like what had happened. I didn't get pissed at the owner or anything. It was, it's my bad for doing it, and I still got it pretty cheap, so it was not a big deal. So I ended up staying there for a couple days, booked another flight that was in maybe 2 days. So I stayed a couple days, and she let me keep the truck there, and I arranged for a carrier to get it and bring it back to Minnesota, which is crazy. But the story, oh my god. So I picked her up in Scottsdale, picked up this friend. I didn't, it's not like I knew her for many years or anything. It was just someone that I knew, and she was willing to help me out. So I was like, sure, sounds great. Where does this go? Does this go where I want it to go? No. I don't know. Anyway. So she's like, yeah, before we go to my place, do you mind if we stop by at my friend's house? Holy crap. We went into like a serious, it was like a complex of like buildings and super like uninhabited. There was no actual exterior lights on the building to set nighttime. There was, I swear to God, it was like speed bumps every 10 feet. And like curves, like you had to go in and around this thing, and there was like speed bump, speed bump, speed bump, speed bump, and then and you're in between these buildings. And it was like no joke, like pimp, drug dealer, lowriders on one side, like lowrider magazine type lowriders parked outside of one building, and the other ones were like cars on blocks and like pieces of shit, cars that were burnt up, it was like serious crack den type shit. And she's like, yeah, drive your truck in here, it's all good, I just gotta stop at my friend's house. And I went in there thinking like, I'm fucked. Like somebody's gonna fucking come after me for this truck I just bought, and I'm gonna have to hit him with a fucking wrench, and shit's gonna hit the fan. Damn it. And a truck, another truck came in, a newer one, obviously. Nice, big rims and shit. Came in, pulled up, and pulled right in front of me and stopped. And I was like, okay, here we go. Get ready for anything. And this chick pops out with like blue, long dreads, a white girl, and comes up and is like, hey, homie, what up? Your friend told me all about you. She's like, why don't you come upstairs for a bit? And I was like, oh boy, this is awesome. I ended up just being like, no, I'll chill for a sec. We're going to be taking off. She comes down, and she had to stop at her friend's to pick up her 4-foot bong. So that was awesome. Went back to their place, and the whole 2 days I was there, basically my friend and her father and anybody that showed up smoked weed constantly. And I figured out what I was going to do with my truck and then took off. Holy crap, it was amazing. It was a crazy time. Crazy. But once I got the truck back on Minnesota soil, it was all cream cheese. Anyways, I'm going to see somebody, so I'm going to catch you guys later. Tell me what you think about trucks. Tell me what you think of the story. I don't know. Check me out on Instagram, 2-Wheel Ton. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, man. See ya.